Scheduled maintenance is quite important because there's a lot of things which do get missed, and it's not like jumping in a car and assuming that everything is going to be okay every time, because obviously you've got that third dimension where you have to consider, well, the what ifs. And if you don't look at those things regularly, there's a lot of things which can creep up, and you think, oh, gee, I wish I'd checked that. It's certainly very important.
You may put your insurance policy at risk by not following the regulation. I think sometimes that there's a view that, all the regulation and rules in there to make things hard, but the regulation and rules are there to maintain a level of safety for, the operators and then for the system as a whole.
The scheduled maintenance is based around an hourly situation with the aircraft, whether it does 2 hours a year or 100 hours a year. So we work it on in such a way that it's either by 100 hours every year or 12 months by calendar time, so whichever comes first. And that way it captures things which can deteriorate if it's being left out in the sun, if it's being used a lot. Either way, you capture things which can be picked up on scheduled maintenance.
Once again, in the back of the manual is your worksheets, and important to fill those out, but not only just fill them out, but refer back to the section that you're inspecting. So then, and keep a record of those with your logbook as well.
We'd probably have about 8 hours on this engine.
Yeah,
so yeah. But time-wise, it's due for its annual.
Yeah. So if the aircraft's been in parked up in storage, it's still advisable. It's every 4
They
months.
still need it.
Yeah.
The oil's contaminated once it's been run. So
Yeah. Cody's just mentioned that oil is cheap, engines aren't. It's a cheap means of insurance. I think for the 3300, it's obviously 2200, but you put about 3 quarts of oil. We tend to use Aeroshell products here at the factory, W100 plus or the 15W50. 3 quarts of that plus a filter probably going to cost you less than $60. So it's well worth changing oil on time.
there's also a service interval with the Jabiru in particular. We have a 2-year interval replacement for the oil cooler hose, the fuel line hose and the oil bottle hose. We just like to keep that nice and fresh. A push lock fitting. There's no AN fittings as such like your speed flow things. It's just another safety thing. Other manufacturers have different timelines. Ours are just a 2-year replacement. So this one only had them done last year, so I didn't have to do that this time. But if you were doing your oil filter change, you would change them while your oil's out. It's just a much easier job to do, but this job particularly, it's just an oil filter change.
The main things that we find when aircraft come in for scheduled maintenance are normally the things that people don't look at, where they would just do a walk around. So you physically got to pull a wheel off to check the wheel bearings. You can't just lift a wing up and spin the wheel and say, yeah, she's good. You have to check all of the rusty nuts, bolts, washers, rod ends for deterioration, because again, during a walk around, you don't tend to pick a lot of those things up, where if you pull it apart, you do pick up a lot of those things which are potentially dangerous or can come loose.
Talking about laugh component replacement, which sometimes is overlooked because of the difficulty of carrying it out and the cost of carrying it out, right? And sometimes you can view the hose on the exterior and it looks fine, but it's the interior of the hose that's degrading and clogging up, and you can't really tell its condition, and that's why you replace it, right? And again, through reporting, there's many an aircraft that has ended up in a paddock because of missing a hose replacement. Right? So the reason for a hose replacement is to avoid paddocks.
I'm probably a little bit biased, but once you take the cowls off, you've got full access to the engine, and it's not a very cluttered engine bay. The airframe, once you pull the covers off, you have got full access to all of the inspection points with that scheduled maintenance. We use Teleflex cables, which are very, very simple, and as long as you've got an anchor point at each end, there's nothing else in between to inspect. Unlike a metal aircraft where you've got to start pulling inside the wing apart to check pulleys, cables, and then you have that corrosion factor.
Go to our website, and only the current issue will be on that website. If you then download it and print it out, then it's only good for that job you're doing right then and now. Put your entry as in accordance with that issue of the manual.